Betrayal does not crash like thunder. It enters like dust, settling on processes you stopped checking years ago. My name is Leona Park. I am 34. I design systems that run quietly, and I run a team at Arden Forge, a small precision AI firm trying to win a government infrastructure contract. I am disciplined, allergic to theatrics, loyal until the numbers contradict the loyalty. I grew up translating bills and forms for my parents, learned that paperwork is a battlefield, and built a career on clean logs and auditable code. Merit over pedigree. Proof over promises. Before sunrise, the office smelled like drywall and resolve. On my desk waited the binder for Project Lattice, a year of refactors and privacy audits stitched into something that could survive an unfriendly inspection. I opened my laptop to push the final deploy tag and froze. The tag already existed. It had been pushed at 2:17 in the morning, by my credentials, from a device that was not mine. The attached build looked like ours until it did not. The model weights were off, lighter, and the telemetry hooks belonged to someone else. Grid span analytics. Arrival. My mouth went dry in a very organized way. Morning, said Elliot, our CTO, appearing with a coffee and a smile that did not reach his eyes. He glanced at my screen. You beat the sun. So did whoever used my account, I said. He laughed, too fast, then waved it away as a caching glitch. People love to call sabotage a glitch when the right people benefit from it. I saved the screen, closed the terminal, and carried the binder to the conference room. At 9, the core team assembled. Ava, our CEO, all conviction and fast decisions. Victor, the CFO, immaculate suit and immaculate comfort with risk that belonged to other people. Marin, my closest collaborator, nerves wrapped in competence. I projected the audit trail. Green checks glowed like false assurances. Tag pushed at 2:17, I said. From my account, from an unknown device. The build contains gridspan telemetry. Victor gave me a smile that belonged in a board packet. No accusations before coffee. Interoperability is not a crime. Forged credentials are, I said, even. If we ship this, we invite a provenance audit we cannot pass. Ava considered, then nodded once. We do not ship contaminated builds. Leona, verify and push clean. I will move the slot. We broke. In the hall, Victor stopped me with a friendly hand on my elbow, the kind of touch that pretends to be collegial and is actually a test. Optics matter, he said softly. Chaos costs money. If we miss the slot, we look small. We will not miss it, I said. Unless someone keeps locking doors. Back at my desk, I skipped the vendor ticket queue and wrote a script to map keys to devices, cross-referenced badge logs, then pulled camera stills. At 2:14 a figure in a hoodie badged in with a guest credential. At 2:16 they slipped into a glass room and connected a laptop. At 2:17 the tag went live. The image was grain, but one detail snapped into focus. The visitor wore a lanyard with a white sticker. We gave white stickers to investors. My phone buzzed. A blocked number. You are welcome for the upgrade. Ship it and you will win. Attached was a screenshot of my terminal from my own machine, taken remotely in the night. My palms cooled. Either a hardware keylogger or a remote implant, both requiring access. Which meant this was not clumsy. Which meant I had been breathing dust far longer than I knew. I forwarded the message to Ava. Do not ship. We are compromised. Marin pinged me. Victor is pushing to upload the 2:17 build to protect the slot. Ava wants your call in 5. I rolled back to the verified build, reran the checksum, and started the upload into the staging vault. A pop-up blocked me. Insufficient privileges. Contact finance. Finance meant Victor. His door was ajar. On a call, voice smooth. Yes, gridspan telemetry is battle-tested. We need to appear interoperable. If it lands the contract we can refactor later. He covered the MIC when he saw me and offered a smile like a receipt. We align on strategy before we move money. This is not strategy, I said. It is evidence tampering. Unlock the vault. Do not be dramatic. His eyes never matched the smile. We ship stable. Replace later. That is how grown companies win. By shipping someone else's code inside ours. By forging my credentials. By letting a guest badge in at 2:14. A shadow moved at the doorway. Ava. She did not raise her voice. She did not need to. Unlock it, she said to Victor. We go clean or we do not go. He tapped. My access returned. I left without thanking him, a small mercy I kept for myself. A second text arrived before I reached my desk. You cannot outvote gravity. Check your apartment. Attached, a photo of my living room window, taken from inside. The air left my chest in a careful line. I glanced through the glass wall. Victor watched me too closely. Elliot pretended not to. Marin typed like a person keeping a dam from breaking. I pushed the clean build, documented every step, and set the upload clock. 51 minutes to deadline. Then I opened a new note and titled it Remainder. If they burn it down, I light the match. 3 rules. Save clean proof off network. Trace money, not words. Hurt no one who did not swing first. I need 10 minutes, I told Marin. For what? She asked. To see how much dust I have been breathing. I took the elevator down, the city bright and unkind. My apartment was 3 stops away, 4th floor walk up, 2 locks, a view of a fire escape and a stubborn maple. I opened the door and smelled lemon cleaner that I had not used. The kitchen table sat in a square of patient light. On it lay a printed invoice from Gridspan Analytics, billed to Arden Forge, signed for delivery by V. Hale. Beside it, a sticky note in my looping cursive. Ship this and I will make you VP. I do not write promises in the future tense. I do not write sticky notes at all. I stood there with my hands quiet, listening as a neighbor's radio bled through the wall, and then the floorboard in my living room answered the weight of a step that was not mine. I did not turn toward the sound. Stillness tells you more than panic. The floorboard spoke again, a careful shift of weight, like a cough in a quiet room. I hope you locked the door, a voice said. I knew it. Ryan Cade stepped into the thin spill of kitchen light. He had been on my team before a bigger firm hired him away. No weapon in his hands. No apology in his face. You have upgraded your taste in threats, he said, nodding at the Gridspan invoice. Victor always liked to sign his problems. How did you get in? The fire escape latch was bad when you moved in. I told you. You said you would fix it after Q3. Memory supplied the moment. I had filed it under later. Later had expired. You did not leave this, I said. No. But I knew you would find it. And I knew you would come alone. He watched my eyes. You always verify before you speak. Why are you here? Because you are about to make the mistake of thinking this is about code. He tapped the sticky note that copied my handwriting. They are not just planting evidence. They are building a story people will accept. Who is they? Start with Victor. Add Elliot. Add whichever investor wants Gridspan quiet. Do not assume Ava is immune. What about Marin? Even clean people get used like dirty tools, he said. Sometimes they do not notice until the cut is done. He took 2 steps toward the window and paused. One more thing. Do not trust your laptop. One of your commits is not yours. He left the way he came. I locked the window and let the room stop feeling like a witness. The sticky note was a perfect imitation except for the pressure on the downstrokes. Someone had practiced me. I photographed the invoice, the note, the courier code. I powered the laptop down, pulled the drive, wrapped it in a sweatshirt, and dropped it into my bag. The machine was no longer a tool. It was evidence. I texted Marin. Are you alone right now? Her reply came fast. In the war room. Why? Leave without telling anyone. 5 minutes. East Side lobby. Do not ask questions. The typing bubble blinked, then vanished. I took my keys, the drive, and the battery that never touched company networks. In the hall, a radio played a cheerful song that belonged to a different planet. On the stairs, my phone buzzed. A blocked number. If you involve her, she goes down with you. I kept walking. I do not let threats pick my allies. Marin waited by the lobby windows, hoodie zipped, hair in a rough knot. She fell into step without a word. We turned into a coffee shop that sold power outlets by the hour. I took a table that faced the door. She took the chair with a view of the street. Talk, she said. I slid the photos across. Grid span diagnostics were ordered weeks ago. Signed by Victor. The 217 tag used those hooks. A guest badge entered at 2:14, took the elevator to 21, opened an East Side conference room at 2:16. My account was used from a device that is not mine. Someone took a photo inside my apartment. Marin listened like an engineer. Does Ava know? Ava knows outcomes. I do not know if she knows inputs. What do you need? A second set of eyes and a room I can trust. Also tell me now if there is anything that could be used against you. Nothing, she said. Unless caring about rent is a felony. I handed her a clean phone. Use this. No company accounts. Pull your local copy of last night's branch, hash it, and compare it to the artifact in the staging vault. I need to know if the vault object has shifted since my push. And you, she asked. I'm going to trace the guest badge. The white sticker matters. Investors get those. Finance ran the desk that week. She started typing on the burner. I called a facilities contractor who owed me and asked for the badge reader dump. He grumbled and sent it. At 2:14 guest code G7431 entered. At 2:15 the elevator to 21. At 2:16 an East conference door. The host field was not a name. It was a department code. Marin tapped the table. It moved, she said. The artifact changed in the last half hour. Same tag. Different checksum. Vault log calls it storage optimization. Optimization does not rewrite hashes. Unless someone tells it to. She turned the screen. The uploader field was blank in a way that requires database rights. Finance, I said. Finance, she echoed. Ava called. Status. Clean build is pushed, I said. But the vault manifest shows alteration. We need a hard freeze and a third-party hash witness. A beat. Meet me in my office in 20, she said. Do not send anything else over our systems. The call ended. Marin exhaled. Do you trust her? I trust that she wants to win without looking dirty, I said. That is not the same as clean. We stood. My clean phone buzzed with a new text from a blocked number. Check your building lobby at 12:06. Bring a friend. We changed course. The lobby clerk handed over a padded envelope without comment. Inside was a small aluminum key and a receipt from a downtown storage facility. Unit number. Today's date. A printed line at the bottom. For whoever controls the audit. Open quietly. Trap or gift, Marin said. Both, I said. On the sidewalk a black sedan slowed, the rear window lowered 2 inches, then rose. No faces. No plate I could grab. Our phones vibrated at the same time. Company-wide alert. Scheduled maintenance on the staging vault in 10 minutes. Expected downtime 2 hours. They are going to scrub, Marin said. Then we get there first, I said. We headed for the subway. The city wrapped us in ordinary noise. A violin bled a melody I could not place. A bus sighed. A cyclist cursed a taxi. Halfway down the steps, Ava called again. Security flagged an anomaly on your account. Someone reported that you removed company hardware. HR wants to meet now. I looked at the drive in my bag. Property and witness. Where are you? She asked. On my way, I said. Come straight to me, she said. And do not speak to any badge you do not know. The line clicked off. Marin watched me. They are tightening the net. Good, I said. Nets catch things. We reached the lobby at Arden Forge. 2 guards at the elevators. Their faces said the script had been printed and handed out. Marin touched my sleeve. If they split us, we do not hand over anything without a receipt. If they split us, we do not give them a tidy story. The elevator doors slid open. We stepped in. A hand stopped the doors from closing. Elliot slid inside with a clean smile. "Big day," he said. The car rose. He glanced at my bag like a man who already knew what was inside. "Let us keep it that way," he added, and the elevator hummed toward the floor where the next decision waited. Elliot stood too comfortably between us in the elevator, like someone who already knew the destination and the fallout. The panel lights climbed floor by floor. Marin stayed silent, but her reflection in the chrome doors watched him like a calculation waiting for input. He didn't look at her. He looked at me. "Ava's expecting you the moment we get out," he said. "HR too. They're moving fast." He sounded like he was reading weather, not consequences. "And you're here because?" I asked. "Optics," he said lightly. "Nobody wants the face of the project escorted upstairs by security alone. Makes the board nervous." The elevator chimed. 21st floor. The doors opened to a hallway too bright to trust. 2 security officers waited near the glass entry. Not aggressive. Just present. Marin gave me the smallest nod and peeled off toward the far end of the floor with the burner phone tucked into her sleeve. She had the vault hash, the badge log, and the storage key. If they took me offline, she'd still be in motion. Elliot walked one step ahead of me, as if guiding a guest, not a liability. We passed the reception desk. The receptionist pretended not to watch. Ava's office door was already open. She stood by the window, her arms crossed, her posture composed in the way people compose themselves when lawyers are on copy. On the low table sat an HR rep with a tablet and a security manager with a badge that didn't match any of the usual shifts. "You took a company device off premises," the HR woman said. "No greeting. Just script." "I took evidence of sabotage off a compromised network," I replied. Ava's eyes narrowed, not in anger, calculation. "Where is the device now?" "In my bag," I said. "And it stays there until a third-party chain of custody is signed." The HR rep opened her mouth, but Ava spoke first. "Clear the room." The HR rep hesitated. "We were instructed." "You were instructed to be present," Ava said. "You've been present. Now step outside and wait." Security left with her. The door shut. Elliot stayed, leaning against the wall like someone watching a rehearsal. Ava faced me fully. "You realize how this looks?" "Yes," I said. "That's why someone set it up this way." She didn't blink. "Explain." I placed the invoice and the forged sticky note on her desk. Gridspan diagnostics were ordered weeks ago under Victor's signature. The contaminated build was pushed using my credentials from inside our building at 2:17. A guest badge with a white investor sticker came in at 2:14. The vault artifact you asked me to push was replaced again this morning with a different checksum using finance side permissions. Ava's jaw clenched. "Can you verify that?" "I already did. Marin's confirming the difference right now on a clean device." Elliot spoke for the first time. "You're accusing finance, security, and possibly the board, all without proof admissible in court." I turned to him. "Which part worries you most, that I'm right, or that I caught it before it shipped?" He didn't answer. His silence was permission to continue. Ava stepped closer. "What do you think their endgame is?" "Control the contract, control the narrative, and turn me into the signature that legitimizes it," I said. "The forged note in my handwriting offers me a VP role if I ship the poisoned build. If I refuse, they accuse me of misconduct and remove me, and someone else signs off." Ava stared at the sticky note. "Who knew your handwriting well enough to fake it?" "Someone who's read my physical briefs," I said. "Someone with access to the conference archives, or someone who's seen me annotate prototypes by hand." "Someone like?" Ava asked. I didn't answer. Not yet. Marin's name hovered at the edge of the thought and retreated. If they wanted me to turn on her, it wouldn't be accidental. Ava exhaled. "Here's what happens next. You hand me the drive. I hand it to legal. We halt the upload and move to containment. If you put it through internal legal, it disappears," I said. "The vault is already scheduled for maintenance. They're wiping or rewriting the record in under an hour. Elliot checked his watch like he was timing a heartbeat. Even if that's true, you can't take this outside. Whistleblowing mid-contract triggers federal review, and we lose the bid. I didn't take my eyes off him. Then you should have protected the bid. Ava cut in. Enough. Leona, do you have clean proof somewhere else? Yes, I said. Off-network. Documented with timestamps, hashes, and photo evidence. And Marin has access to that. She has what she needs if I disappear. Elliot's eyes flicked at that word. Disappear. Not dramatics, recognition. Ava went quiet, then spoke like breaking glass. You're not going anywhere. You're walking out of this building with me, and you're handing me everything. No, I said. I'm not giving you anything until I know you're not protecting Victor. Her voice didn't rise. Victor is a liability. But if you make this a public rupture, everything collapses. Sometimes you let it collapse, I said, so you can see who crawls out with the matchbook. Ava held my stare for 3 long seconds. Then, where is the rest of it? In motion, I said. A chime from the hallway interrupted us. Security re-entered without knocking this time. A different man. Broader shoulders. Dark suit. His badge said external liaison. That meant board adjacent, not building security. Ms. Delaney, he said to Ava, we've been instructed to escort Ms. Park to a private compliance interview. Off-site. Elliot didn't look surprised. Ava did. That wasn't authorized, she said. It came from the chair, he replied. The chair. The board's highest vote. The one person whose name never sat on any Slack channel, always on embossed paper. I stepped back as the man reached for my arm. He didn't touch me. He didn't need to. The threat was in the choreography. I'll go, I said, but Marin Cho goes under internal protection. Now. You move her without telling me, and every piece of what I've documented gets sent to every compliance inbox tied to our bidders and their rivals. Elliot scoffed. You think you're holding the only copy? No, I said, I'm holding the only version tied to signatures, timestamps, and financial routing. Without my key, your cleanup has no alibi. Ava nodded slowly, calculating the board, the fallout, the blood trail. Nobody moves Marin, she said to the agent. And I ride with Leona. That is not protocol, he replied. It is now, she said. For the first time since I walked in, Elliot looked uneasy. They led us out through a service corridor instead of the main floor. No one spoke while the elevator took us down past the lobby, past the parking level, down to a floor not listed on the panel. Basement 2. A private exit. Not police. Not HR. Not legal. Ava glanced at me once, and in that look I saw the quiet shape of something I could not yet name, fear or calculation or both. The door opened to a dim hallway. A man in a grey coat waited at the far end, holding a folder and a keycard. No insignia. No smile. I scanned the ceiling for cameras. Only one, far back, pointed at the wrong angle. Good. That meant someone expected no witnesses. The man in grey said my name, not as a greeting but as a claim. Leona Park. I didn't answer. I was already counting possible exits and which one would require the least noise. Beside me, Ava inhaled once and stepped forward like she intended to negotiate. I let her. I was already choosing the moment to break the script. The man in the grey coat said my name again, as if speaking it could move me. He lifted the folder, not all the way, just enough to show a signature page clipped on top. Ava stepped forward. You will conduct any interview in my office. With counsel. Not here. Instruction from the chair, he said. Off-site. Instruction from the CEO, Ava replied, eyes flat. On-site. Or not at all. He waited. The pause was studied. He was used to people trying to negotiate with time and authority. I looked past him at the single camera tucked in the corner. Wrong angle, cheap dome, probably a prop to make the hallway look compliant. Whoever planned this wanted no record. I set my bag on the floor and opened the zipper just enough to get my fingers around the small aluminum key. The storage unit had been nagging in the back of my mind since the lobby clerk's envelope. For whoever controls the audit. Open quietly. If there was a map, it was telling me to leave. I turned to Ava. You said you ride with me. I did, she said. Then you should ride now, I said, and let my knees soften as if shock had finally reached me. Ava caught my elbow. The grey coat moved in, hand out, palm open, a gesture meant to look helpful. I dropped the bag. The spare sweatshirt that wrapped my drive rolled out enough to meet the light. He reached for it on instinct. His attention tilted. I stepped into his space and kept going. Not a strike. A refusal. He had to either be physical or let us pass. He chose not to touch the CEO. The corridor was open. Ava did not falter. If you are not going to put hands on us, you are going to walk us upstairs, she said. Or you are going to stand there and make a choice your boss will not like. He did not follow. He spoke into the cuff at his wrist. The tone was wrong for security and wrong for police. Board private. It confirmed what I needed to know. We took the service stairs instead of the elevator. On the landing Ava hissed, not angry, just loud enough to be real. If you are running, tell me now. I am not running, I said. I am switching fields. If you want clean proof, you cannot let me be processed by his people. Are you asking me to choose you over the board? She asked. I am asking you to choose the company over the people who plan to own it by theft, I said. If I am wrong, you can fire me later. If I am right, you cannot risk losing the only copy that ties signatures to actions. We reached the ground level and stepped into a corridor that smelled like storage and paint. A door opened into a loading bay. 2 contractors were rolling carts across the concrete. No one looked up. Ava kept pace with me to the side exit. Outside, the air felt thin and grey. Ava pulled her phone, then stopped herself and slid it back into her jacket. Call me paranoid, but I do not want to light up our location. Good, I said. Paranoid is cautious without drama. We walked 2 blocks without speaking. A rideshare idled at a red zone. Ava touched the door handle, then hesitated. We should not be trackable on a company account. I flagged a cab instead. The driver did not recognize us. He did not try to chat. I gave him the address of the storage facility. Ava faced me. Tell me about the key. Delivered from Macready and Sons, I said. They paper the chair's fund. That does not mean the chair sent it. It means someone wants me to find what is inside. What do you expect to see? She asked. Invoices. Signatures. A router or a hardware implant. Maybe a phone that never touched our network. Something they did not want in email, I said. If it is clean, we take it to a third-party hash witness. If it is dirty, we know the poison they plan to feed us. And Marin? Ava asked. She is still moving. If we get separated, she triggers our copies to go wide. Ava let out a breath that could have been relief or the beginning of a headache. She watched the city pass. Her jaw tensed when the skyline opened and the river flashed through. You keep talking about theft, she said. You have not once called it sabotage. Sabotage is romantic, I said. This is accounting. Move code, move money, move blame. The storage facility sat behind a row of muffler shops and a shuttered gym. The clerk barely looked up. The key fit the lock for Unit 317. The door rolled up with a corrugated sigh. Inside were 3 banker boxes, a pelican case, and a cheap folding chair. No dust. Someone had been here recently. I checked the door frame for tape, then the floor for marks. A faint line from a cart, no deeper than a whisper. Ava nodded at the pelican case. Start there. I opened it. Foam cutouts held a laptop with no branding, a basic handset, and a thumb drive sealed in a Tampa bag. There was a printed instruction sheet. Power the laptop. Insert the drive. Do not connect to networks. Follow the prompts. Record the screen with a phone you do not carry daily. I powered the laptop. It booted into a simple audit tool. The prompt asked for the aluminum key ID. I typed it in. A list appeared. Vendor invoices. Courier logs. Vault admin credentials. Internal chat exports that had never hit our systems. The file names were short, like they had been hand-typed by someone with an old habit of not trusting search. I slid the tamper bag open and connected the drive. The tool ran a hash check and rendered a timeline. It began 3 months before I joined Arden Forge. It traced a consulting engagement between Gridspan and a shell supplier that matched a line item under facilities. It showed disbursements from a fund controlled by the chair to a holding company that paid a retainer to Elliot's brother. Not Elliot. Elliot's brother. It was neat. It was cowardly. Ava leaned in, eyes hard. They insulated themselves. They tried, I said. It is still traceable if anyone cares enough to follow the wires. We opened the banker boxes. Inside were printed copies of invoices and tapes of badge reader exports that never went through our procurement system. There were 2 non-competes with side letters. One had Victor's initials in the margin where he had tested a pen. Under the second layer sat a small recorder. The kind reporters use when they do not trust their phones. There was a single file marked with a date from 2 weeks ago. I pressed play. Victor's voice, smooth and cheerful, spoke about optics and optionality. Elliot's voice, lower, spoke about the annoyance of engineers who think principles scale. A third voice, unfamiliar, laid out a sequence of steps. Push the merged build. Paint the provenance after the award. Float the compliance check to a friendly group. If needed, offer Leona a title to quiet the thread. If that fails, flag her as a risk and trigger removal. Ava closed her eyes for a beat. When she opened them, she was CEO again. We are done playing their pace. The burner phone in my pocket vibrated. Marin. The vault went offline early, she wrote. Maintenance banner is fake. Finance and security are in the room with 2 badges I do not recognize. I cannot stall them from here. Do you have anything I can drop on them if they touch the artifact? Send this, I replied, and photographed the instruction sheet, the recorder, and the first page of the audit timeline. I added one more photo. The key number stamped in aluminum. She replied with a single word. Understood. Ava looked at the handset that had come with the laptop. It was old, heavy, not logged into anything. The battery indicator showed a full bar. There was no SM. That was odd. Then the screen lit up and showed a countdown. 10 seconds. 9. 8. I picked it up. No buttons. Only the glow. At 0 it began to play. Not a call. A recording set to trigger when the laptop authenticated the key. The chair's voice. Calm, almost bored. I had only heard it once in a board presentation. It was the same cadence. If you are hearing this, you have become useful or dangerous. Possibly both. The people who moved the pieces for me have already lost the right to pretend surprise. You can hand this to the government and kill the bid. You can hand it to me and I will kill Victor and Elliot's careers and give the contract to Arden Forge anyway. You will ask if that is justice. It is not. It is arithmetic. Ava stared at the handset like it had broken the rules of the room. The message continued. Choose fast. The first person who moves with proof controls the story. If you think this is a threat, you are not wrong. If you think it is an offer, you are also not wrong. The audio clicked off. The screen went dark again. The same countdown reset to 60 seconds and began to fall. A file transfer prompt flashed on the laptop. At 0, the drive would self-wipe. I moved fast. I mirrored the drive to the laptop, then to my external battery storage. Ava set her phone to camera mode and recorded the screen as the hash check completed. The bar hit 94%. 50 seconds. 98. 46 seconds. 100. The wipe began. The thumb drive lead blinked steady, then dead. We stood in the quiet of the unit as the aftermath settled. Ava finally spoke. He is giving us a ladder that is also a trap. Yes, I said. If we take it, we become part of his math. If we do not, the board eats us anyway and calls it compliance. And Marin, she asked. She will push the photos into the maintenance channel and copy legal counsel at the agency that oversees the bid. Quietly. Enough to freeze motion. I swallowed. Which means we will have minutes before someone tries to box her. Ava checked the hall through the small cutout near the ceiling. Then we move. We packed the recorder, the printed files we needed, and the laptop. I left decoys in the boxes. The door rolled down. The lock clicked. We crossed the lot and turned the corner just as a black sedan slid into the alley behind the facility. Ava did not look back. Where next? Back to the office, I said. Not to surrender. To force daylight into the right rooms. And if security tries to separate us, she asked. You are still the CEO, I said. Say it like it means something. Ava's mouth tightened. It does. My phone buzzed again. Marin. 2 words this time. They found me. Marin's message sat on the screen like a fuse. They found me. We ran. Not dramatic. Direct. The cab dropped us 2 blocks out. Ava kept her jacket plain and her face unreadable. The security desk clock said 12:15. The elevators were busy. We took the stairs. On 21 the hallway smelled like toner and nerves. 2 guards outside the war room. Inside, I heard the low, steady cadence of someone reading a policy aloud. HR tone. Control by procedure. Ava walked first. Open the door. They opened it. Power respects clarity. Marin stood at the far table. A security manager sat with her, flanked by a compliance officer I did not recognize. Victor leaned by the glass, expression polite, eyes bright. Elliot sat, hands folded like a student who had studied the wrong chapter. Ava did not sit. This is my floor. Anyone in this room who does not report to me directly is here as a guest. Guests keep their hands still. The compliance officer smiled without his eyes. We need to collect a device removed without authorization. I set my bag on the table and left it zipped. You can collect a receipt after a third-party chain of custody. Until then this drive is evidence tied to a board-level query. You touch it and you go on the record. Victor straightened. We are all on the same side. Good, I said. Then watch the screen. I mirrored the storage laptop to the wall display. The audit tool timeline lit the glass. Invoices. Courier logs. The vault admin credential history. Badge codes tied to a guest entry at 2:14. The recorder file queued with a timestamp. I hit play. Victor's voice filled the room. Then Elliot's. Then the third voice that laid out the sequence of steps like a grocery list. Ship the merge. Smooth the trail. Pay for compliance. Promote the obstacle if she cooperates. Flag her as a risk if she does not. Silence replaced the recording. It did not feel like quiet. It felt like wait. Victor laughed softly. Anyone can fake audio. That is why I brought paper, I said, and set the printed invoices on the table. And courier receipts. And badge reader exports. And the finance approvals that never went through procurement. Also this. I tapped the screen. The audit tool revealed the payments from the chair's fund to the shell that retained Elliot's brother. Not Elliot. A single degree to avoid the stain. It still smelled like him. Elliot found his voice. You are reading a conspiracy into routine operations. Marin spoke for the first time. Routine operations do not overwrite vault hashes with no uploader. Also, the vault did not go down for maintenance. Finance used a maintenance banner to hide a purge. The compliance officer shifted in his chair. Do you have an external witness to any of this? 3, I said. A vendor bagged the timeline to a key that authenticated in front of a camera. An independent hash of the clean build is stored with an attorney who does not work for Arden Forge. And the agency counsel has a copy of the instruction sheet and the recorder header. They do not yet have the audio. They will if anyone here touches my bag. Victor's polite face cracked. You sent material to competitors. No, I said. I sent it to the people who decide if our bid is valid. If you cared about winning, you would thank me. Ava's gaze cut to Victor. Explain the gridspan diagnostics order. He spread his hands. Interoperability tests. Low cost. Minimal risk. Build off books, Ava said, holding up the invoice. Signed by you. 3 weeks before the merge attempt. Minimal risk to whom? He did not answer. The grey coat from the basement appeared in the doorway. He looked at the screen once, then at Ava. We need to contain this discussion. We just did, Ava said. Sit down or leave. He stayed standing. He was not here for comfort. He was here to judge how fast this would travel. I helped him. I plugged in the handset from the storage unit and pressed play on the chair's recorded message. Arithmetic, not justice. The choice presented like a menu. Move first and control the story. The voice finished and the handset went black. No one spoke for a long 5 seconds. Then Elliot stood. This is theatre. The real risk is Leona. She removed hardware and leaked materials. She is putting our bid in danger. Do your job, he told security. Take her to compliance. Ava did not look at him. Sit down, Elliot. He did not sit. So I did the one thing he could not manage. I made the room bigger. I opened a video call to the contracting agency's compliance line on the burner. I set the laptop camera to face the wall display, not anyone's face. When the officer answered, I introduced myself, cited our vendor ID, and requested an emergency provenance verification for the build already on file. I named the hash. I named the time. I named the presence of non-provenance telemetry in a subsequent artifact. I used the words on their forms. It is hard to punish someone speaking your exact language. The officer on the other end asked 3 questions and recorded 2 statements. Then he said the one sentence that flips a room. Freeze all submissions tied to this project. We will send a team. He hung up. The air changed.